we've now come to maybe the whole topic of this masterclass finally here with around 18 minutes left. But we've now discussed extensively, I guess, sort of the current state of the investments, also time management, entrepreneurship, and basically why you started building Vista Equity Partners and how you're using this knowledge sharing element in your firm. But how do you see the future of investments? And how do you use your firm and your knowledge to help better all of your companies in this regard as well?
Sure. And again, Frederick, this is a fun part of my day to day is working with, now we have 450 men and women in the world of Vista that are singularly focused on this. How do we ensure that we remain top investors, not only in the category of enterprise software, but in the category, in our case, of private equity credit. In that case, we also have some public equity in investing capacity. And we focus again on one thing, and it's enterprise software. And the short answer for us, it is still the most productive tool introduced in the business economy in the last 50 years, and likely will be for the next 50. Our average product that we sell to our customers is over 600% ROI. Okay, so when we sell that, I know the real answer is raise all our prices, but what that really says is these tools create massive productivity in the environment. The software world, it continues to remain the fastest growing sector of the economy. It's still growing over 20%, expected to grow over the next 20% over the next 5 years or so. It still is the kind of this mission critical, and the business model that we've evolved to, which is a recurring revenue model, gives you tremendous amounts of visibility into your customer relationships, into your free cash flows. If you run those businesses well, they have high customer retention rate. So we're going to continue investing in that space. However, the way we invest has to continue to evolve. We have to pick themes that we think are on the forefront. We talked a little bit about this whole hosted environment was something that we've been on, SaaS companies for years. And, how do we enable them to be more efficiently? How do we embed artificial intelligence solutions? How do we become smarter in our go-to-market approaches with these businesses? How do we reduce our cost of delivery through leveraging things like robotic process automation? And how do we then start to expand ultimately, what I'll call the market footprints of each of those businesses geographically, now that we have reach in terms of the capacity of not only Vista, but computing capacity, where you can actually start to put these software companies kind of anywhere. So we think very specifically about that as, those are the principles of how we think about it, the principles of what we can do and continue to drive value creation in our businesses. How do we drive that value creation through, go to market to not only growing businesses, but growing them faster with higher margins. Okay, and that's an interesting thing. I mean, we've cracked the Rubik's Cube on a lot of these. Actually, grow businesses faster at scale, more profitably, and that is it is, but it's through hard and defined work. This isn't something you just. Don't get me wrong. People can go stock pick.
Yeah.
And do okay, in some cases, but you can get burned pretty bad. But we're still doing this with less than a 1%, loss ratio of now 21 years. And I think, our returns have been, gross north of, 39%, net north of 31% for 21 years. The interesting thing is they're accelerating. Our returns are actually accelerating over the last, 5, 6, 7 years. As we've gotten bigger, they actually haven't slowed down, which is defying the logic of what the world of private equity has done. It's because we put this systemic approach in place that has the learning capacity involved, where it's, I call it a feedback and a feed forward loop in our value creation dynamic. And we train our people extremely well. And we've got a very disciplined approach to the way that we invest. And we have to keep driving that, but, as I stand back and look at it, but we also get to participate in a market that is 98% private. You can't, as a public investor, participate in this unless you're coming through, vehicles like ours. And so, part of what we have to think about is, well, how do we avail our platform more effectively, to the public markets? And that's one of the things, we're thinking about it. And of course, we've taken 3 companies public this year, and one in the last 12 months or so, we've got, half a dozen, ready to go, and you'll see those over time. As well. But that provides that level of opportunity. The other thing that we have to do, which is as important, is to bring true diversity, equity, and inclusion across our entire stack of not only at the Vista level and the portfolio company, but our boards, et cetera. And, I'm pleased with our progress, relative to everyone else out in the tech industry and the private equity industry. We're top decile on those. But I know that we have the capacity to enable others to do that through training and infrastructure systems that we currently and natively have, from internships to, developing our talent stack from, entry level to the CEO. We've got training programs at entry level, level above that. Our pinnacle programs are, just under the CEO, our CEO program. And we think that, being extensible with this knowledge into various call it theaters and ecosystems will enable more diversity, equity, inclusion across the entire industry. And we think as good corporate citizens, we shouldn't just hold that all to ourselves, but we should actually enable our society to be better and more just through leveraging some of the tools and insights and information that we have. So that's part of how we think about investing, and they come together hand in hand. They aren't two separate things, but we do them together as a fully integrated methodology.
Wow, I'm very, very curious to hear and see some of the companies that that you were mentioning there that we can look for in the near future. But yeah, it surely is very, very, very impressive, and I also think it speaks to a whole nother topic which we unfortunately don't have time to cover on this one. But that is just the recruitment and developing of the people, right? Because your company is doing amazing, and a lot of credit is due to the people you have in your organization.
All the credit. I mean, honestly, exactly. Frederick, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I have to tell you, it is our people. We've got within the Vista, call it ecosystem, 450 very talented men and women, and we have 70-some thousand employees worldwide. Yeah. Our average company, we increase the employee base by 20%. Well, you can't do that unless you're really thoughtful about the development of your people and giving them tools to develop themselves. I mean, we have a system. Any employee can get a nano degree in artificial intelligence in our ecosystem utilizing our infrastructure. Okay, and I don't care what position you're in. Wow. It's going to help you think about how to utilize technology to make not only your job more efficient, but how to utilize that technology to make our companies more efficient and how to go to market. But that's part of what we think is the value proposition that we offer at Vista that frankly is unique from almost every private equity firm that I'm aware of.
Yeah, no, and I think we've spoken a lot about loopholes in the market and where to make investments and so forth, but I think one of the most maybe undervalued things, at least in relation to how valuable it actually is to speak about the development of people in your companies, your ability to attract the right talents, to develop them, to retain them, to all those sort of things, because that is in these, I guess, overall professional services companies where you don't have a competitive edge in terms of a certain technology or something like that. It's the people, their work ethic, everything like that makes you stand out from the rest of the group. So
absolutely, you have to show people they have pathways to grow. And there's pathways which are up, and then there's pathways which are lateral across different portfolio companies, and you've got to create an ecosystem where that's healthy and that's whole. And in some cases, some people have to go so that other people can actually expand and bring their knowledge and capability into the ecosystem. And you've got to not be afraid of that. You got to be able to embrace, change and progress and, promotion of people. And some people, can move off and do other things. But I think that's an important part of growth. We all have to face that. And that's kind of who we are as people. And our responsibility, quite frankly, to our stakeholders to provide that opportunity.